I'm Brenda Caldwell, aka Dr. B. Welcome to the Hope Zone, moving you from a place of hopelessness and brokenness to a place of healing and wholeness, a place where hope is alive to bring you more peace, more joy, more freedom, and more understanding of your God-given purpose. Let's enter the Hope Zone. Hi, and welcome into another edition of the Hope Zone with me, Brenda Caldwell, aka Dr. B. I'm so excited to have you join me for episode number 106. Yes, episode number 106 here in the Hope Zone, where there is hope for every situation. And I just believe there is some hope, there's some healing that's going to go forth on today. And before we get started, if you'd like to become a subscriber to the Hope Zone so you can get that upload every Monday, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you'll get that notification. All right, so let's get started on today. Today I want to talk about this. Stop stuffing, start sharing, start healing. Did you hear that? Stop stuffing, start sharing, and start healing. That is how we need to talk about today. That's what we need to talk about today, rather. Why? Because I have found in my many years of therapy, clinical therapy hat that I'll have on today, is that so many people come to me that have trauma, that have so much baggage from their past that they've never dealt with. They've stuffed it, and stuffed it. And when we stuff, we hurt ourselves, because whatever happened in your past, listen, I need you to get this and understand, it is not buried. Pain it doesn't die. Pain that gets packed down, trauma, abuse, rejection, abandonment issues, those things like that, they can get buried down on the inside of us, but they don't die. They don't go away. They don't, until we decide to start digging them up and talking through and getting it out. And so I want to share that with you today. The importance of stopping the stuffing. Do you stuff? What does that mean, stuff? Do you right now have some things that are just suppressed in your heart that have happened to you? Some things that maybe you've never told anybody. Here's a question. Are you keeping a secret? Are you keeping a secret? Is there something that happened to you that you've never told anybody? Is there something that you are feeling that you need to get out, but you are ashamed to get out? You're ashamed to say? You're blaming yourself for? You're still feeling guilty? You're still condemning yourself? I don't care what it is. Whatever it is, if it is causing you, if it's a detriment to your soul, if it causes you to feel bad about yourself, if it causes you to feel like you're a terrible, bad person, if it causes you to feel like you messed up so bad, if it causes you to feel shame, embarrassment, guilt, condemnation, if it causes you to feel just a lot of anger, whatever it is that has happened, I need you to stop stuffing. Because when you stuff, what you're saying is, what people did to me, I'm going to protect them. I'm going to cover them. I don't want to, I don't want to make it known in the family. I don't want people to get mad at me. That's how predators get away with molesting children, by telling them things that, you're going to make your daddy mad. You're going to make your mom mad. You're going to have the family turn on you. How many people have been molested as children and have carried that into their adulthood and are still suffering on the inside and just trying to go on with life, but end up with a bunch of triggers? And you can have those triggers because, again, when we don't deal with the things on the inside, it causes us to have what's called arrested development. And arrested development simply means this. It means being emotionally stunted at an age where some kind of trauma occurred in your life. And so whatever that may be, dad walked out of your life, mom abandoned you, or just, you were bullied on the playground, whatever it may be, molested, raped as a child, the list goes on and on and on. But here's the thing. If you stuff and you never tell anybody, then you grow up, and on the inside, you'll have pain, you'll have hurt, you'll have anger, you'll have depression, you'll have anxiety disorders, you'll have so much on the inside that needs to come out, but it can't come out unless you open your mouth. In order to unlock that pain, unlock that trauma, unlock that tension, that depth of hurt on the inside, you have to open your mouth. This is very important to understand. That is why therapy is what it is, because it allows you to have a safe place, a safe space, a safe way, in a non-judgmental environment to release that which you have been bound by. And if you don't get real, you can't heal. My motto for therapy has been the same for nearly 20 years. God can't heal until you get real. When you get real, God can heal, and I'm willing to be his vessel. I want you to understand that you have so much on the inside of you in terms of purpose, in terms of destiny, in terms of gifts, in terms of value. But if you're still traumatized by things from your past and you are continuing to stuff, you're basically holding your future hostage, because you'll never be fully at peace. You'll never be whole. You'll never have true joy deep down on the inside. You'll have these triggers. You can be at a party or a gathering or something, and somebody can bring up, oh, I got the best dad in the world. And you can have a trigger from being rejected by your daddy, and it will cause you to feel that pain, and that pain of rejection, and you could just want to leave the party. You could just want to, just leave, instead of talking it out, instead of talking about it, instead of getting it out of you, and in terms of just sitting down and talking to somebody. Let me tell you something. I just want to help somebody. I want you're my one today. And if you're watching, if you're listening to this podcast, you're listening on the right day, the right time, the right moment, for the right reason, because God wants you to be free. We can't be free when we're bound up with things on the inside. The Bible says that confession is good for the soul. It is good for the soul. Why? Because it frees the soul. What is the soul? Our mind, our will, our emotions, our feelings, our intellects, our desire. But really, we're talking about our thoughts, our mind, the way we think, the way we feel. That's part of our soul. And so when you have things going on in your mind, you've just stuffed it, you've never told anybody, you're carrying a secret, it damages you. It literally damages your psyche. It can damage your self-esteem. It damages your trust. It causes you to literally just be basically a prisoner, a self-imposed prison, be in a self-imposed prison, and you deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. And so many times we are so afraid of people, and we're afraid to tell our truth, that we protect people that hurt us, but they weren't trying to protect you. They weren't trying to protect you when they hurt you. So whatever the situation is, if there is something that has been traumatizing in your past and you've never told anybody, this is the season, the moment, the time for you to find the courage. It takes courage. It does. It takes courage to talk about those things from the past that haunt us. But the only way you're going to get free, the only way that you're going to heal, you got to get real. You have to get real. You have to be transparent. You've got to find courage to talk it out. So when I say stop stuffing, I mean stop holding it in. Stop holding it in your mind. Stop holding it in your heart. It's important that you tell somebody. It's important that you talk it out. You may start by journaling. If that's safer for you, then that's okay. Get your notepad and pad and start journaling and writing those thoughts and writing those feelings and writing that secret, letting it out, get it out. But it's important that you are able to talk. There's so much freedom. Sometimes we just really need to confess by opening up our mouth and being real with how we feel, being real with what happened, being real with what it did to us, being real with how we know it's still affecting us. I remember, I remember how when the person that I loved years ago thought he was going to be my husband, when he walked out of my life, I was so devastated. I felt so rejected. And I didn't realize I had triggers. But I did have triggers of rejection. I remember when I was working in telemarketing, and this was like, 3 or 4 months after we broke up. I remember, because I was feeling so rejected, that every time I talked to somebody, every time somebody told me, no, I'm not interested in what you're selling, I would break down crying. Oh my God. I would take it so personal that they were rejecting me, but I didn't realize that it was the pain because I had kept it a secret. I didn't tell anybody that he walked out my life, that he didn't want me anymore. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell anybody. I just carried it as a secret until finally I realized I got to talk about this. I got to talk about this, how this hurt me. I have to talk about this. I thought this guy was going to be my husband. I made plans and I'm giving up my dream for him. And I realized I was stuffing anger. Sometimes we are stuffing anger and we can take it out on other people. When you find yourself snapping and going off on your children and you're getting mad because they dropped their cereal but you go way overboard and you're yelling and you're going off and maybe using inappropriate language, listen, there's a trigger somewhere. There's some anger somewhere. There's something that you've been stuffing that you need to talk about. Start sharing. There's somebody in your life that would listen to you. There's a good friend somewhere. And if you can't find a good friend, and if you don't have somebody that you can truly trust, there is God. You can tell God. You can talk to God like he's really there, like for real, for real. You can be honest and just say, I need to be honest. This happened to me and that happened to me. And I'm so angry. I'm still so hurt and I feel so wounded and I feel so unwanted because this happened to me. And I've been carrying this secret and I know I need to start sharing. The reason we need to start sharing because if you hold things in so long, it can affect your health. It can affect your physical health in a lot of different ways. It can lead to cancers. It can lead to heart disease. It can lead to strokes. It can lead to autoimmune diseases. It can lead to so many kinds of tumors throughout the body. We have to be real. God created us to release. That's why he gives us tear ducts. That's why tears are so good. And in my therapy sessions, when I do group counseling, my Surgery for the Soul, which is a full day, amazing group day of healing for people, the first time people start crying, the thing that people want to do is they want to give them some tissue. Let me tell you, I always say this, and I mean it. Tears are beautiful. Sometimes we give tissue too soon. And we send the message, dry up the tears, dry up. No, God gave us tear ducts to release, to have a purging, to have a freedom. When we literally have a good cry, you start sharing your pain and sharing your hurt with somebody, sharing it, telling it, talking it out, sharing your testimony, whatever you want to call it, start sharing. And if it makes you cry, that's okay. That's a good thing. Those are healing tears. That's important to understand. So it's okay to let people cry. We have to stop getting uncomfortable because somebody wants to cry. We throw tissue at them, and we feel sorry for them, or we may be a little uncomfortable, so we don't want to give them tissue. I always say this: tears are beautiful. Tears are beautiful. It releases the pain. It releases the valve. It releases the valve of the heart. I mean, tears are the language of the heart. Do you understand? So tears are beautiful. But I do say this: while tears are beautiful, watch this. Snot is not. That's what the tissue is for. So if you want to give somebody some tissue, make sure that you see the snot first. Understand, because I've done the research. I haven't found anything anointed about snot. Are you with me? But the tears are very anointed. Tears are beautiful. Tears are cleansing, and so we have to respect people when they need to release. And so if you need to get a good cry, get you a good cry. It's okay. People are hurting. I know that. You may be hurting today. You may be going through some unresolved issues. I always talk about the uns, that unhealed hurt, that unresolved issue, that unmet pain, it's just this unresolved pain in the soul. You got to start sharing. You got to start talking it out. Not rehearsing over and over and over and do nothing about it. Some people like to rehearse their story, and they're never at a point that they want to reverse the story. Did you hear that? It's important to understand we're not just talking about just talk for the sake of talking. But it is important to understand when you start sharing, you want to have a destination. And that destination is the last point I want you to get. When you start sharing, when you stop stuffing and you start sharing, it's going to lead you to start healing. The healing process. Healing is not overnight. When there's been an emotional wound, when there is trauma in your life, when there is unhealed pain in your soul, we don't necessarily heal overnight. We don't heal with a touch. Come on, somebody. It may play a role, but if we all would just heal with a touch, everybody would just be healed. Period. And instantly. It doesn't happen that way. Healing is a process. Even when you forgive someone, the healing of the soul, healing of the heart does take time and can take time, if you will. But to understand, the healing begins when you start releasing, when you start talking, when you start getting honest, when you start saying, you know what, I'm angry as I don't know what. I'm mad as I don't know what. I'm hurting. I'm in pain. I feel unwanted. I feel rejected. I feel unloved. I feel. Go ahead and talk about it. Talk about how you feel. But we just can't be controlled by the feelings. And so as we get these feelings out, as you get the feelings out, as you talk about it, and you talk about the story, and you talk about what happened, it begins to release something. It begins to uproot in you. And then the healing is this. If you're going to start healing, after you start talking, you want to make a decision. You have the power to make a decision. And it's so important for you to know that. You can choose to say, you know what? I'm not going to be a victim. I am going to be victorious. I know this happened to me, but it will not destroy me. I'm making a decision. I'm making a decision to release. I'm making a decision to forgive. I'm making a decision to let my past give birth to my purpose. I'm making a decision to let my pain produce a greater purpose in me. I'm making a decision that my mess that I went through is going to be a message to get somebody else through. I'm making a decision that my life is not over. It's not over. I'm not going to live in my past. I'm not going to be bound by my past. I'm not going to be a victim of my past. I'm going to let my past produce a greater anointing on my life. I am going to heal. And so you begin to give voice to that. I am healing. I am choosing to heal. I am choosing to be free. I am choosing. Let me tell you, that word choose, the word volition is the word choose. It means to make a decision after considering all options. God has given us the ability to choose. We can choose to stay stuck. We can choose to get unstuck. We can choose to be a victim. We can choose to be victorious. We can choose to live in our past, or we can choose to create a new future. You have the power to choose to create the new narrative of your life. Your story is not over. Your book is not fully written. There is a book of you, a book about your life. Come on, when God created the entire world, he created everyone with their own book, and God has a book for you to write. You are living it out, and only you, come on, can create the chapters. You create the chapters. A good book ends well. Come on. We don't need to read a book and the book ends so terrible that it causes us to feel depressed. No, no, no. You're writing your book. Your story is not over. Your life is not over. Your book is not fully written. But that is why you want to get real. That is why you want to choose to heal. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. You do not have to live in depression all your life. You do not have to be bound by anxiety all your life. You do not have to be living in fear all your life. You do not have to be a victim of trauma all your life. No, you have the power to choose, to choose, to choose to heal. Let the healing begin. Stop stuffing. Start sharing. Start healing. Well, that is today's Hope Zone. The Hope Zone with me, Brenda Caldwell. I am literally sold out to the day I die to keep hope in this earth. And I just want you to be encouraged. For more information about my works and my speaking engagements and things that I do for the community and so forth, go to my website at drbempowers.com. drbempowers.com. Now, as I said, in a world full of darkness, I always say that there's still a reason to have hope. So you know what I want you to do? I want you to hold on to hope like it's a piece of rope. Until next time. I'm so glad you made it to the end of the podcast. If the Hope Zone is making a positive difference in your life, please subscribe to the show so you don't miss the next episode. Leave a review, and most of all, share it with your friends. And remember, from your worst day to your best day, there's hope in every situation.